Now, Kenya will be hoping to score big at this month's Africa Heads of State Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed campaigning to be the next AU Commission chairperson. Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who is the chair of the Cabinet's Committee on her candidature, said Kenya had received positive responses from the 51 out of the 53 countries and will be reaching out to Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde before Election Day on the 30th of this month. Matiang'i also defended what he said was an extremely low-budget campaign that he says, if successful, will put Kenya on the international map.
Can assure you we have run a very low budget campaign. We have been very frugal and highly disciplined, especially because we know we are doing this at a time when we have a lot of competing priorities, even as government, as it were. So it's been an extremely low budget campaign. We've worked very strongly with colleague countries across the continent. Our president and deputy president have been reaching personally to their counterparts and colleagues across the continent. So there has been a collective effort, starting first of all with the East African community.
And that particular story, which also ran yesterday, is in tandem with our discussion this morning and the question that we're asking you this morning: how is Kenya likely to benefit from Ambassador Amina's win as AU chair? How is Kenya likely to benefit from Ambassador Amina's win as AU chair? You can hit us on Twitter. AM Live NTV is a Twitter handle. AM Live NTV is a profile name on Facebook, and 20505 our SMS portal. Just a tender reminder that we are holding court this morning with Professor Noah Midamba. Professor Noah Midamba is the Vice Chancellor of KCA University. Also, we have with us Dr. Abdi Wahab Sheikh. He is a consultant, and also, let me just give you the proper introduction of Abdi Wahab. He is Horn of Africa commentator and director of Southlink Consultants. Also, we have with us Dr. Mumunzao, who is a governance and security strategist. Also, we have with us Captain retired Collins Wanderi, who is also a consultant and he's an advocate of the High Court. Let me also give you a proper introduction to him. He is a security analyst, joining us also this morning to talk about matters security. So let's just drill deeper into this. We have also with us Dr. Apollos Mashira. Leaving you, Dr. Apollos Mashira, because you are the fire, and maybe I'm not seeing you. He's a criminologist from Egerton University. Ambassador Amina's candidature, 51 countries remaining with only 2 countries that now we are really, straining out the list to make sure that also they're in the loop as far as this candidature is concerned. Is she likely to garner this?
I am very proud to say that Ambassador Mohammed is a good friend of mine and is someone that I admire very much. And I think that Africa will significantly benefit out of the leadership of a competent, non-political, and non-corrupt and dedicated public servant in Africa. Kenya will benefit in several ways. One, of course, is the imagery that Amina is from Kenya and that Amina served faithfully in the government of Kenya. And secondly, she's bringing substantive capacity, experience, and dedication that will benefit the continent as a whole and beyond. Thirdly, we are in a very peculiar, delicate situation. Europe is unwinding since the Second World War. There's no stability in Europe. And Kenya has benefited from Europe in a significant way. We don't know if that is going to happen anymore. We have Trump, on the other hand, who is threatening to cut aid to Africa substantively. And that will affect Kenya directly because Kenya is the second largest recipient of the US aid. We have China, which is involved everywhere. And is getting a lot out of Africa rather than what they are investing in Africa. So Africa is really in a precarious situation to be exploited and to suffer the consequences of this changing environment that is happening around the world. And they really need leadership, and Amina will provide that.
All right,
at this point.
Okay, let's hear from Dr. Abdul Wahab.
I think we should appreciate, we should appreciate the Jubilee government's bold policy, foreign policy, by appointing an internationally known figure, well-talented, like Amina Mohammed. Amina is a known figure internationally and globally. I think one of the best decisions has made the rural administration so far. Hopefully, it's a test also. It's a test for our diplomatic missions. How can we lobby our own individual in that seat? And I think if we succeed this one, we'll show the world how we are capable of leading the world. And in fact, if you look at the current AU chair,
yes,
is from southern part of the continent, while the other one who came from Gabon also is in the western part of the continent. I think it's our turn today in East Africa as a whole to chair the African Union mission. That's why I'm saying so far the Rwandan government has confirmed, the supporting of Amina Mohammed, while the Ethiopians and the Ugandans and also they don't decide up to now. But it's our responsibility to lobby for her in our leaders, both our leaders, our foreign missions, to lobby for her. If we have our own in that kind of the world stage, at least they can lobby for us. Our interest, she can push further in our interest. And again, if we succeed this one, I think the UN Secretary General will be on the way. So it is now the Kenyans now to show the world we are leaders. We can lead the Commission, and we can easily lobby our interests in that world stage.
So is Kenya right for the world leadership, especially with these top-notch organizations as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
No question about that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have Kenya Texas Chamber is saying Kenya did not benefit from Obama. Amina at the African Union can help to believe the election is disputed. Yeah, of course, but we've seen all looking at the headline of how we've had also military equipment from Obama. And also, Daniel Masi is saying she is there for her personal gains, not Kenyans. A Kenyan died in Ethiopia, and we have 4 in South Sudan prison over a year, right? And all right, nothing, just like we haven't benefited anything from her being the Cabinet Secretary of Foreign Affairs. But I shall be looking also for positive comments. These are just negative comments that are really coming through right now. Let's hear from Dr. Mumunzao.
Yeah, it's hard to please everyone. But, I met that lady, as the person in 2005, 6, when she had come from Brussels.
Yes.
And we were doing what we call simulation exercises with students, training them some skills of diplomacy.
Yes.
And I think we had invited Ambassador Green Josiah,
yes,
and the late Ambassador Philip Mwanzia, and I told them, because she spoke to the students in a very nice way, they were captivated. And I said to Ambassador, the late Ambassador Philip Mwanzia, this lady is well gifted. She's well endowed with a lot of the inner issues to do with statecraft. And she's bringing these very easily out to very young people. And so to more substantive issues, of course, diplomacy is an instrument of statecraft. And for someone just to say that she has not done anything, this is an institution we call Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
And if I am to tell you the lists of things that Kenya has done and hosted high-powered delegations here, right from the Pope to Obama and who, I mean, it's just unfair. So I know that it's not about Kenya, it's about Africa. And she's got that. She's going to have a good face for Africa and represent African interests. And therefore, Kenya is ripe for that kind of status. And I know the rest of the African, dignitaries down in Addis and heads of state and government will honor that request on the part of Kenya.
All right, thank you. All right, just to read also, Kennedy Kipkoech is saying that AM Live NTV, I'm watching you from Nandi Kaboy. Electing Amina, she says, Mohammed will be most beneficiary. Right, this is according to Kipkoech. You may just put that tweet on air so that people also can see the positive comments as well coming through from our viewers. Let's hear from Captain Wanderi.
Yeah, thank you, Dabal. One, Kenya is at a strategic position in the region. For many Kenyans, perhaps those would not know, just last year, Kenya entered the group of states known as the first 11 in Africa, people who are capable of mobilizing revenue to the tune of 10 billion US dollars. There's little money compared to other nations, but Kenya entered that league in the last financial year. Having said that, despite that global positioning, we also have an international burden we have carried with us for a very long time.
Yes.
We host the largest refugee camp in the world. We have hosted virtually citizens from every other neighboring country: Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, and as well as Uganda. We have hosted them here as asylum seekers. And many often, we have had a lot of international conferences being called and people making lofty promises in those conferences and not attending to the pertinent needs of Kenya, because hosting asylum seekers has its own dangers and it has costed us heavily in terms of our national security. And this is the time to ask the regional countries. We've been very kind to you. We have extended the act of kindness in execution of our international obligations. It is now upon the regional countries, particularly in the Horn, Central and East Africa, to support us in the quest for this position. And why do we need this position? Because then we can actualize those issues that relate to the Vision 2063 in Africa, that relates, one, to having what we call the regional trade and the regional blocks, integration,
yes,
as well as then promote the reduction of conflict and deal with forced migration in the region. Because those are the issues that have forced Africa to go back. And Kenya, having been one of the countries leading in that area, and even having been one of the largest contributors to the peacekeeping efforts under the UN mandate, as well as the AMISOM mandate, then it is important for us then to actualize that national advantage that we have in the region in the manner of being taking leadership in an international organization.
Yes.
Perhaps what many Kenyans who are criticizing don't understand is that Amina is not joining the local petty parochial politics. She's joining the global or the international civil service. I have had occasion to work in the international civil service in the United Nations High Commission for Refugees.
Yes.
I know one thing: as long as you have a top person from your country, in those conferences where the international community passes resolutions and makes international bidding for various things that happen in a region, once you're represented, then you become very important. We have seen the amount of diplomacy and the amount of concessions Kenya has had to do to give to South Africa, because South Africa currently holds the chair of that position. And therefore, as we were negotiating on the issue of ICC and other issues, Kenya had to really rely on South Africa, because the chair is from their country. You cannot advance in the international civil service without the support of your country. Right now, we have Dr. Mukisa Kitui heading one of the UN agencies. And we saw the conference that was organized in Nairobi here. And Amina Mohammed was part of it. We have seen international guests coming to Kenya. We have hosted Indian Prime Minister, the Italian Prime Minister, President Obama, the Pope, the Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel. These are all diplomatic efforts of Amina. And therefore, we need to recognize that she's joining a group, an international civil service, where the benefit is not largely seen in the terms we want to see it in Kenya.
Yes.
It is seen in terms of global position and comparative national advantage.
Thank you. Let's hear from Apollo's
Amina has actually succeeded in our local civil service. She has run the Ministry of Foreign Affairs very well. We have not had any scandal in that ministry. She's very clean. So she should now go a notch higher and replace Mrs. Zuma of South Africa, so that she can be the AU chair. although the deputy chair is from Kenya, but we haven't heard much about the deputy chair. I think the chair is the chair of AU. Remember, we should also thank Kenya and Nairobi, because Nairobi is within the same league of New York and Geneva. As far as United Nations is concerned, we have the center in Nairobi, the United Nations Environment Program, which is a world organization. So we have now gone that far that to head the AU is the only thing that we need. The small opposition she's getting from the ECOWAS states and the North, I think we shall overcome, because we have actually gone very far. So we hope that Amina will be the chair. And it is a boost for women in Africa.
All right, thank you. And just as we're winding up on that, unless you have anything to add on that, of course, this is a developing story. You're eagerly waiting to see what will happen with that. Let's hear from Captain Wanderi as we're winding up. Yes.
One of the things that that also Kenya is putting forward, you see, in Africa, we've had attendant issues of the advancement of women.
Yes.
Why would Amina's candidature be very important for Kenya? Because we have gotten to a stage where we then have to recognize that the women constitute slightly over half of our population. You cannot then have a better candidate who, in terms of gender, in terms of religion, and in terms of diplomatic experience, you're putting forward. And that is a plus for the women, not only in Kenya, but in Africa, recognizing their efforts and their commitment to global peace and conflict resolution.
Thank you very much. And of course, we can see a lot of retweets also coming through, like Abdirahman Ali there saying Ambassador Amina has vast experience in international arena. No doubt that no doubt that Kenya's image will be higher positively. It's a win-win for us. That is what Abdirahman is saying. And just read also earlier tweets that we had from John Githanga. Amina Mohammed's win will put Kenya in a position of political and economic influence in Africa and worldwide. So I read that. We have Oliver Wabwere. This was earlier to what we were discussing about matter security, when institutions feel beholden to government of a day instead of we the people, decay begins. That is from Oliver Wabwere.